Welcome back to Ethereal and Elusive. I am sometimes I be needing that deep breath. It really does. You know what? This has been a really sacred practice to say I am and then take a deep breath. And I feel like everyone should, like, that should be a part of everyone's practice. But that might be a part of my new morning routine. I don't know. Anyways, today I'm a book girly. Y'all know me, I love books. It's so crazy because now that I am like in flow of like creating and enjoying the process of creating, it's like my book videos get the least amount of views, but I have so much fun creating them, so I don't really care. I don't really care. And the people that watch my book videos, shout out to y'all. I want to talk about what I read in July. And let me tell y'all, July was a phenomenal reading month. Yeah, it was a phenomenal reading month, but it started off rough. So it started off with a few DNFs, 2 that I wrote down, but there might be more. I didn't check my Fable app for that, but it started off with some DNFs, which leads me to the first thing that I want to talk about before I even get into the books. Oh, and also I wanted to pull a card with y'all. But maybe we'll do that at the end. Maybe we'll pull the card at the end. So anyways, what I wanted to talk about was reading slumps. I know it affects us all. We love books. We love to read. We love to escape into them. But then sometimes life just lifes, whatever that means for us in each moment, and we find ourselves unable to really sink our teeth into a book and get lost in it. And maybe you find yourself like starting a bunch of books and not finishing them, or starting them and kind of losing interest, or not really picking them up consistently to finish them in an efficient amount of time. But first I want to say, give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. Whenever you experience a reading slump, remember that we are doing this for enjoyment. And some of us also do it to edify ourselves, right? Like, reading is only beneficial. You can edify yourself with it. But at the same time, like, we're not doing this for school. Y'all, like, we are not back in school. We're not taking like tests on it. We're not writing book essays. And it's like, now that there's like book talk and booktube and all these book communities and book clubs and stuff like that, it's like you want to feel a part of the conversation, right? You want to be reading so you feel a part of the loop. But like at the end of the day, it's like, if you're in a space right now where you're not reading that much, that is okay. That is okay. There might be a reason for it. You might need more rest. Really look at like, why am I feeling that, and address the root instead of shaming yourself back into reading. Because the more you shame yourself, the least likely you're going to really get back into it. And even when you get back into it, you're not going to enjoy it. And it's like, what's the point of doing this? Just to say you did it, or to actually enjoy reading? And I am on the side of like actually enjoying reading, which is why I read a lot of fiction books. I don't read a lot of nonfiction, because I genuinely enjoy reading. It is one of those hobbies that I really enjoyed as a child, and now in my adult years, being able to return back to it is really healing. It's really edifying. It is making me a better writer. I fear they were right, that if you're a writer, you need to be reading. I fear they were right. Because it's expanding my vocabulary, expanding my perspective, expanding my ability to articulate myself both verbally and writing on the paper. So yeah, enjoying it and taking your time in it is really important. So give yourself grace if you are or have been in a reading slump, or if you feel a reading slump coming on. So a few things that I've been flowing into in order to avoid really sinking down into a reading slump is honoring myself. And what I mean when I say that is a few things. One, DNF that book. I don't care how popular it is. I don't care how many book girlies are talking about it. I don't care how many pretentious people are like, if you're a reader, you have to have read this book. I don't care. I don't care if it has 1 million 5-star reviews. If you are not vibing with it, if you find yourself having to force yourself to push through and to keep reading it, once you get a certain percentage in, DNF that book. And for everybody is different. So for me, usually I like to get like a good chunk in, like, I don't know, I can't really put a page number on it, but like I like to get a good chunk read. And when I say good chunk, about 20%, not that much, not that much, 1/5 of the book. If it's not hitting, or if it's just not resonating with me, I just let it go. And that helps, like, honoring like the fact that like, hey, I'm not really feeling this. And no, not every book is gonna be like a page turner, edge of your seat, all of that. Like, and I don't even really need books like that. As you can tell from the books that I've given 5 stars, they're not like the most phenomenal books, but I enjoyed my experience in them, and that's what matters, and that's what I'm honoring. So if I'm not enjoying my experience, I'm going to DNF it and move on, because forcing myself to read something that I'm not fully enjoying is, I feel like, kind of leading into the direction of going into reading something. Because if you're forcing yourself to not do this thing, and reading is something that you have to carve out time to do. Like, it's not something you can just really do in passing. Even if you do audiobooks, you have to, like, and you're multitasking, you have to be doing something where your brain can take in the story. You have to be a little still. Like, you can't be doing too much while you listen to an audiobook. So it's like, and on that note, I'm honoring that I am an intuitive reader. A lot of people call this a mood reader. But for me, I think the word that most resonates is intuitive, because I'm not really going by my mood per se, but I'm going by this gut feeling within of like, now it's time to read that book. Now it's time to read this book, which is why it's like, kind of getting through my physical TBR is hard, because I'm just not in the mood. But I'm also at the point of like, if I'm not in the mood to read it for like a good chunk of time, maybe I'm never going to be in the mood to read it. Maybe my intuition is never going to be here to read this book. But yeah, really just honoring the fact of like, when I'm feeling to read something, I'm gonna read it. And that helped me have a really good reading month. I read some really good books, y'all, and it went off of my intuition. It didn't go off of anything, because I go into books pretty much blind. I might have like, I might know what genre it's a part of. I might know something about the author. I might have heard something about it on BookTube, but like, I never pay enough attention to really know the fullness of a book so I can go in and be surprised by the entire experience. Like, I'm just here to experience everything for the first time. So I literally go off of intuition. Sometimes book covers, sometimes authors, but mostly my intuition of like, now it's time to read this book. And then also like taking my time. So when I say that, it's like, so a thing that is a phenomenon within the book hobby is that sometimes after we read a really, really good book, we'll go into a book slump. There's a lot of reasons why, that we can attribute to it. Could be like, this book was so good, how do I follow up with this? Nothing is catching my attention because nothing is that. Maybe there is a little like micro grief that is happening when we in that book, and it's really hard to settle into a next one. And so with that being said, when I read a book that I know I need to sit with and ingest and process a little longer because it hit me that hard, I'm not forcing myself to dive into a book right away, which is why we're on August 9th when I'm filming this video, and I haven't really committed or finished a single book this month yet. I have started and I DNF'd a few because they just weren't hitting. Like I said, honoring my energy and my intuition and how I'm feeling. And I wasn't feeling those books. And I'm also like, I'm still kind of sitting with, like, I read so many phenomenal books last month. Like, how can I follow up with that? So I'm taking my time. And I know that next time I really sink into a story, I'll sink into it. I'll be open for this new experience. So I just wanted to say that about like reading slumps, because I know that it's a thing that happens in the book community, and I feel like there's a lot of pressure around like getting out of it. But it's like, maybe embrace it. Maybe lean into it. Maybe ask it questions. Why is it here? What purpose is it serving? Or how can I address the root of it? How can I honor myself? Because I feel like a slump in anything is really just an invitation from your body and your spirit to honor yourself. So without further ado, let's get into these books. So I did start the month with a few DNFs. Like I said, I only have 2 written down, but I feel like there was another book that I DNF'd that I just didn't write down. I didn't remember. And that might be why I DNF'd it. It's not even memorable. Anyways, so the first book that I picked up this month in DNF was The Westing Game. This was a book that is from my childhood that I just wanted to reread, because I have seen where booktubers will read middle grade books that they read in their childhood to see if they still enjoy it. And I was really curious about that, because reading is kind of like an inner child activity for me. So I wanted to do that, but it just wasn't hitting. And honestly, like, it's not, I don't know that it's about it being middle grade, because there's a book I have on my shelf that I will never let go. It is called Stargirl. I think the author is Jerry Spinelli. And that is a middle grade book, but it's so good. It's so good. It's so profound. But we'll get into that in another vlog, because I want to talk about that and like books that really changed my perspective. But that changed my perspective, and I read it as a child and I read it as an adult, and I enjoyed it every time I come back to it. But for the most part, I don't think that reading middle grade stuff is really for me. Like, I love that for y'all, but I don't think it's for me. So I DNF'd it. It wasn't catching my attention. It just wasn't hitting. So I DNF'd it. And then the second book I picked up and DNF'd was The Book of Night by Holly Black. I was really excited about this. If y'all watch my videos, you know I did a Goodwill haul. I got it from a Goodwill that has the bins. And really good condition, had one blemish on it, and I was so excited. Book of Night, it was giving dark, it was giving fantasy, it was giving that it was gonna check all my boxes. But as I started reading it, I just wasn't feeling it at all. It wasn't cohesive. That's how I would describe it. It wasn't cohesive. There were certain things that happened that just didn't make sense. But I think I talked about this in an unhaul video, so I won't spend too much time on it. But yeah, it was just not, the plot was not plotting, and I did not care about where it did start with a little bit of a cliffhanger, but it was also like a random cliffhanger that it's like, girl, if you just simply minded your business, this literally wouldn't have affected your life at all. So yeah, it seemed pointless. It seemed like the book was pointless. So I didn't finish reading it. And I didn't get that far in. I think I got to like chapter 2 and I was already like, And that's a testament to honoring how you feel about a book. Because sometimes we've all been there where we force ourselves to keep reading even though we're like, I'm not really gelling with this book, and then you force yourself to keep reading and you find that you felt that way the entire book. Very rare does it happen where a book will surprise us and like just get fantastic out of nowhere. The writing style is the writing style. So like, if I'm not getting down with that, I'm just not gonna get down with the book. So that was some DNFs. But like I said, I had a really good reading month. So let's get into the books that I did enjoy, because honestly, this is probably my best reading month of the year. And I think the last time I said that was in April. So it's been a while. And I'm happy to be back. The first one that I want to talk about is a book called The Salt Grows Heavy. And this was a book that I think I saw on a few booktubers, like maybe one or two. I definitely saw it more than once though. So maybe two or three. maybe two people talked about it. And I love a deep cut, not popular book, because the popular books just don't do it for me. But like when people were describing it, they were like a mermaid, a plague doctor, zombie children. Where is this going? I have to know. I had to know why those three, like how all three of those things can end up in the same story. And I just knew it was going to be crazy. And they were saying it was a short story, it's a quick read, but a gut puncher. And so I got it on audiobook. It is like kind of dense in that I just feel like the story talks to a lot of societal things at large, and it makes you think about the world, about society, about your place in it. And for me, it made me think about my experience as a woman and a lot of women's experiences, and through mythology and how even that gets like distorted to make us look certain ways, but it's like that's not who we are. And I don't want to say too much about the book because I don't want to give it away, because I want y'all to read it. This book is really, really good. I don't know what to say without giving away this. It's such a short story, but I will say the main characters are a mermaid and a plague doctor. But the mermaid, I really enjoy mermaid lore. When you really get into the crux of it, because mermaids are not like how they're depicted in Disney Channel. You know what I mean? It's like they're different. There's a lot more to their lore than a lot of popular outlets explore. And so I really appreciated that this story talks about like the lore that's more aligned with what a lot of indigenous people believe about mermaids. Whether you believe that they're real or not, it doesn't matter. But like just the lore surrounding them is completely different. Like it's not all sunshine and roses, and this book really depicted that, the depth of it, but in a way that kind of, like I said, makes you think about and link back to women's experience in the world and through history. 5-star read. Next, we're gonna start with a hand clap. Before I even say the book, we're gonna hand clap, because y'all, this book was so good. And the book I'm talking about is Model Home by River Solomon. I don't like, where do I even start? Seriously, where do I even start? This book was so freaking good, and I'm just gonna jump right to the rating. Y'all, I gave this book 6 stars, which breaks the scale. And I believe this is the first book that I've read this year that broke my scale. Maybe it's the second. I feel like I read another one that was also 6 stars, but I would have to go back and look. But this book, 6 stars, break the scales, phenomenal, no critique, no notes. 8. Okay? So, first of all, let me kind of backtrack. My first experience with River Solomon was a book I found at the Dollar Tree called Sorrowland. And I am so glad that I found this book randomly at a Dollar Tree in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Like, it was so random, y'all. And I buddy read it with a friend, and it was it was a really great introduction to River of Solomon, because it was definitely, there were definitely some parts of it that, like, I don't know how to describe it. Like the middle part got, I don't want to say it dragged, but it was like a kind of lull in the story. But then when I got to the end of it, I was like 5-star. This was phenomenal, because the whole the story in its entirety and the type of horror that it depicted, the body horror, the queer horror, the religious horror, the cultural horror, like the type of horror it depicted was just something, I've just never been exposed to horror in that way. And it sat with me for so long that, like, the more I sat with it afterwards, the higher the ranking went, because I'm like, this is sitting with me a while. And I would talk to my partner and reference the book, even though he has not read the book. But I'm like I now I experience my everyday life through lens of like having flashbacks of this book. And so it was a phenomenal read, and it made me want to read more about River of Solomon. It made me really respect their writing style. So I'm not going to give any spoilers, because once again, this is something that I really think y'all should read if you like horror, if you like horror that has a little bit of societal commentary. It's not like, but it's not in a way that it's just done really well. Before I move on, I know I spent a lot of time on this book, but before I move on, I also want to give the flowers to the voice actor who recorded the audiobook. 8 down, left no crumbs. It literally felt like the voice actor was performing a poem. The entire 8 hours of the book. Y'all, I'm telling you, I'm so glad that I experienced this book in audiobook format, because of how well the voice actor did. And now I finally understand, like, booktubers would be like, the voice actor matters when it comes to audiobooks. I finally understand, because I finally experienced a voice actor who wasn't like just reading straight from a page. You know, this person performed. And there were parts of the book that were kind of written kind of like in a poetic style, and they performed. They paused when they needed to. They changed it, the voice, everything was really good. Like, it was like a sobering moment of like, I took you on this horror, like, fantastical journey a little bit. I wouldn't use the word fantastical, but I took you on this horror journey, supernatural journey, but I need you to know that the monsters are realer than you think. And that's all I'll say. Read Model Home. Listen to Model Home. And then leave good reviews for this phenomenal Black author. And that's all I'm going to say. Okay, let's go through this. I got 3 more books. So next we have A Forgery of Roses. I gave this 4.75 stars. Actually, I have this book. This was actually one of my physical TBR books. Look at me reading my TBR. And I read it when my intuition told me to read it. It was like, it's time. Literally, that is what I hear. Like, that is what I feel as an intuitive. When it comes to my books, that's the relationship that I have, where I'll hear it's time. So sometimes I'll get a book and I'll hold on to it and I'm like, not yet. And I know not to give it away either. It's like, I'm gonna read it, but not yet. I'm just feeling not yet. And then I'll hear it's time. So after I read Model Home, I heard that it's time for A Forgery of Roses. I thought this was gonna be kind of light. I ain't gonna lie. I really did. I mean, look at the cover. It's a beautiful cover, but it's not giving heavy. It's not giving intensity. It's giving fantasy, love story vibes. Like I said, I go in blind. So I didn't really read the back cover that much. I just knew it involved secret magic. That's all I knew. And it wasn't that light. It was actually pretty dark. There was actually a lot of like not a lot, but there was actually a handful of like moments where I'm just like on the edge of my seat trying to speed read to figure out what happened, because I'm like, I gotta know. It actually was a really good time from beginning to end. I was on the edge of my seat. I really enjoyed it. It was dark. It was a little stressful, but in the best way possible. The main character is someone who has this magical ability. However, those magical abilities are not only shunned by the world, but then also, what is it called? Exploited by people as well. Because it's something that's supposed to be so shameful, which kind of reminds me of like witchcraft. It does remind me of that. I don't know. To be honest, like I've had a few clients at the beginning of my journey. I can't say that I attract these type of people anymore because I manifest aligned clients. But at the beginning of my journey, I attracted clients who I was their first time getting a spiritual reading, but like on social media and to the public, they would just like put down like witchcraft and different practices, but then they would ask me for a reading. And you know, in my perspective, it was just like, I'm honored to be your first experience in this, and I still feel that way. Like I'm happy to change the narrative, but at the same time, I'm only aligned with people who will honor the experience, because I'm like, how dare you shame other people for doing certain practices, but you asked me to do a reading for you. And that's a form of witchcraft at the end of the day. Like at the end of the day, like anyways, so it was kind of that kind of feeling in the book, but way worse. Like people would exploit them to the point of like killing them type. Yeah, it just takes the main character on a wild journey that literally is life or death. And it was a really pleasant time. Whole time it was really pleasant. I don't really have much to say. Like, it's not a profound book like Model Home or The Salt Grows Heavy, but it was enjoyable. And it was some parts that I was really at the edge of my seat. The reason why it's not a 5-star read is because I felt like the end dragged on a little too long. And like once the climax hits, I only want like max one short chapter. One short chapter for you to conclude this book. But it's like the climax hit and I felt like there was like 2 chapters. I don't know, it just kept going on, and I was just like, I think I ended up stopping it before, because I started reading the physical book and then my library copy came up, so I was able to finish it with audio. And like, I don't think I listened all the way to the end. I won't lie. Honoring my intuition. Look at me, living by what I preach. Okay, and then 2 more books. So then next I read The Darkness Within Us, which comes after, which is the sequel to The Shadows Between Us, which I read in June. I believe that was June. And I really like The Darkness Between Us. I ended up giving it 4 stars, even though I didn't want to, even though I was like ashamed to admit that this book that's not profound at all, not like intricately written, but like I enjoyed myself from beginning to end, was a 5-star read. But The Darkness Within Us, I actually gave it 3.75. Not 5 stars, just simply because I enjoyed it, but not as much as I enjoyed The Shadows Between Us. Like, it was just a ride. It was something to enjoy. Like, I didn't have to force myself to read it. It was pleasant. But I do feel like it was a well done sequel, because it follows the perspective of the sister of the main character of the first book. And the main character, the way that she describes her sister in the first book, you know, it's just like how she has experienced her whole life. But in the second book, it humanizes the sister, and it makes you realize, like, okay, there was more to it. But the more to it wasn't, I don't know. Maybe because, like, although the first book and the first main character, she had a problematic perspective in the way of going about things. But I think I resonated more with her taking control of her life, her method of it, and saying, like, like, y'all ain't gonna play me. I'm gonna forever be with it. Was kind of her vibe. But in the second book, which is not a spoiler because she literally describes this in the first chapter, her way of coping with the world is kind of to just act like a ditzy, airheaded woman in order to manipulate people and get them to do what she want to do by them not suspecting anything from her. And that's just something that doesn't resonate with me at all. I've never been that way. I've never hung out with women that are that way. And like no judgment, because everybody copes and survives the way that they feel that they need to, especially as a woman. It's hard for us, and it's hard for us to live out loud and to just be blunt without being demonized. But also, I'm not gonna make myself appear stupid for no one. And so with that being her whole thing, not to say that of course that gets turned on its head, that's the whole plot, not the whole plot of the book, but that's a part, one of the things that get turned on its head. But it's still like, I don't know. So it was cool to listen to her story. I got this on audiobook as well, but I'm not gonna get the physical copy. Don't care that much. If there was more to the series, wouldn't read them. Like, it just didn't hit like the first book. So one more book, and this book, yeah, it's one of them. Oh my gosh, I just looked at my page because I wrote down my star count for all of them, and this book also broke my scale. That's why this is the best reading. July was the best reading month for me, is because I read 2 books that broke my scale, 6-star reads. So the second book I read was actually a book I got from the library, which I wish I made a vlog about that because that was such a fun experience getting my library card here. But instead of attending to my physical TBR, I checked out books. And one of the books I checked out is The Necessity of Stars by E. Catherine Tobler. And honestly, one of the things that attracted me to this book was how short it is. It's like a little novella type thing. Because I'm like, if I'm going to check out books, I want to get things that aren't gonna like take me a whole month to read, because I got a lot of books to read. I got a lot of books to get through. This is just my side quest. So if I'm gonna do a side quest, I'm gonna make it cute, I'm gonna make it short, I'm gonna make it petite. This little short book, y'all, this little short book like ruined me. I was sobbing. I was crying. I think I might have cried a little bit during parts of Model Home, but like, this book is 69 pages and I was sobbing. The main character is an elder woman who is developing some form of dementia, and she basically has a first encounter experience, which means alien life. And this is my first time reading a first encounter story, and I really liked it. And I've been very curious about sci-fi, because like, sci-fi movies are very hit or miss for me. Either I absolutely love it or I'm bored to death. So I'm like, I wonder what my experience would be reading sci-fi books. And I have sci-fi books on my physical TBR, but we're not gonna talk about it. I'm gonna get to that. But like, seeing this is like, okay, first encounter, haven't read sci-fi, haven't read, let's see what the experience was. And it was phenomenal. Oh my gosh. I mean, one, I have a grandmother who suffered from dementia. and the last years of her life. And so anytime I see artwork that I feel like, well, I can't say accurately because, you know, I didn't experience it. But what I witnessed, her experience, when I see art that most accurately does that, but shows it from that person's perspective, it always hits me. It always hits a sensitive part of me. It always makes me a little sad to know that this is the level of confusion and fear that she was feeling. I just think it was done so well in like describing it developing and maybe getting worse, and how disempowering that feels. And that really played a huge part in her interaction with the alien. I don't know. That's all I'll say about the plot, because you can't say much about a 69-page book without giving it away, right? But I will also say that, like, I really enjoy stories that talks about nature in a very ethereal way. Talk about nature in a way that highlights the interconnectivity of it all, and kind of how like we would be better if we operated that way. But yeah, I can't really give it, I don't want to give it away, but it was a phenomenal book. It was extremely profound. I sat with it for a while. You just had to have been there, and you should be there. You should read the book, because it's a really good book. So 6-star read, 2 6-star books. I am so grateful. Gratitude for y'all being here. Gratitude for these books. And like I said, I have DNF'd a few books this month already, but I still expect to have a really good reading month this month, because I am still going in with the intention of honoring myself, honoring how I feel, honoring what I want to read, honoring my intuition. So anyways, without further ado, like I said, we're going to pull a card at the end of the video. So let's get into it. Let's pull one card for all of us, for the collective, for me, for you, for whoever's watching. Let's pull a card. Please keep us safe. Please keep us guided. Give us guidance on what we need to know. This feels like our card. So we got the King of Wands. Side note, I'm using Tarot of the Divine tarot deck, and we got the King of Wands. You see the peacock, you see the sun, you see the wand. And I'm actually going to read the book for this one. Yes, I know what my tarot cards mean. But sometimes I like to read straight from the book, straight from the creator's perspective of the certain card. So the King of Wands, depicting a phoenix. It's East Asian mythology, which is what they're depicting here on this card. The King of Wands is a symbol of strength. The legend of the phoenix spans many cultures, but in all of them, the firebird represents nobility, rebirth, strength, and loyalty. Upright, honesty, passion, leadership, charm, flexibility. So I hope this card makes you feel empowered, inspired, and to remember that you can create your reality. You can manifest the things that you desire to see happen. Get to it. Go after it. You got it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being ethereal and elusive. I trust and pray that this video will find you well. And until next time, be blessed.